Oh, hello YouTube. Today in the Naughty Librarian, I'm doing my end of January wrap-up. I pretty much just read fantasy for the whole second half of January, and some were better than others, and I don't know, some were better than others. This is the best way to go about this. And I didn't read as much as I usually read for multiple reasons. One, I was just hitting a reading slump, and it was a slump, and I just wanted to not read. And also, like, I was busy, so whatever. I just didn't read as much as I normally read, but I did read some books. Let's get into this. First and only category is fantasy, and I read 5 of them. I'm gonna start things off here with The Black Company by Glen Cook. This was the book of the month for the Blades and Bodice Rippers book club. There is a whole live show about this book over on Leanna's channel. I will post a link to that up here or down there in the comments. It'll be there. You can go check that out. The basic idea here is that I hate this book and I want to burn it with fire. You know, like, there's no lower rating than 1 star on Goodreads, but like if they had like a dumpster fire emoji, like I would pick that. Like that's the amount of stars I give it, dumpster fire level. Okay, here's the thing. Like, I understand what this book is trying to do. Like, the concepts in this are interesting. They're valid and interesting. Like, seeing, you know, a whole book following, you know, the bad guy characters is interesting, or morally gray characters are interesting. However, the bad guys don't realize they're bad guys. And that's also kind of an interesting concept. But is any of this executed well? No, it is not. This is supposed to be one of the, you know, predecessors, the first grimdark fantasy. And, like, I mean, if you compare it to grimdark fantasy coming out now, they've done it better. But, like, I guess it had to start somewhere, but this is honestly a hot mess. Like, I read the whole thing, and if you ask me what happened in it, I don't know. I would say stuff. Like, nothing's really explained. There's multiple time jumps, like, in the same sentence, not even just between chapters. Like, the beginning of the sentence starts in one time period, and the end of it it's just in another time. Like, what? Now, I'm gonna stick to my guns here, and I have said this book kind of feels like Hunter S. Thompson is writing a grimdark fantasy, which, I mean, if you like Hunter S. Thompson and you like grimdark fantasy, maybe this will work for you. However, I don't like Hunter S. Thompson all that much. Like, I appreciate Hunter S. Thompson for what Hunter S. Thompson does, but, you know, it's a very acquired taste. And honestly, so many of, like the cadence of this book, the sentence structure, it's very Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, just that Hunter S. Thompson iconic voice. And it's like, why is this happening in my life? This book did come out in the 80s, so it is, like, you know, relatively right after the Vietnam War, and I think a lot of that was a bit of inspiration for this book. And that all makes sense. Like, I get it. I get the concepts here. They're great. Except the book isn't. That's the biggest problem. I have multiple reasons why I hate it, burn it with fire. It's gonna be on my least favorite books of 2021 list. I'll tell you that right now. Spoiler alert. It's only January. I already have a book for that list. So, there's that. Yeah, I'm just gonna stop talking about it because it's a dumpster fire and I hate it. A book I did not hate was Bayou Moon by Ilona Andrews. This is the second book of the Edge series. And, like, let's be real, the Edge series is not Ilona Andrews at their best. It is a bit clumsy for them, but it's kind of interesting seeing their beginnings, like where they were when they started writing books, what they were like. So I see a lot of things that I've seen in later books from them that are really, really good. So this is like a good, like, example of a predecessor book that's great. Because it has a sense of time, the magic system, the world building, it all makes sense. And I definitely feel like even if something doesn't make sense to me at the time, I feel like it makes sense to the authors. So I don't feel like even the author doesn't know what's happening. I feel like the authors know what's going on and have a definite set of rules they're following. So even if I don't get it, like, I still feel comforted that, like, it does make sense to them. So, like, someone's at the wheel of the ship. I'm sorry, this is supposed to be a review about Bayou Moon, and I'm still just trash talking Black Company. It's just so bad. Anyway, this is following William. We were introduced to him in the previous book. He is a changeling, so he's a werewolf. Out of, layman's terms, he's a werewolf. And your girl loves a good werewolf romance already, so I'm in. And then he meets Charisse. This is very much kind of like Bayou Family Feud type situation. And then there's a big bad guy that's like overarching that, and they get together, la la la, they're in love. We all can assume that from the book. The clumsiness factor comes in that this is very long, it's very thick. It did not need to be this long. There's a lot of side plots going on that don't have anything to do with the overarching storyline of the book. They're just there, but it's like, why did that need to be there? It doesn't need a B plot. The A plot is good. Like, you don't need all these other plots going on. So, it's a bit meandering and it's over long. Like, it definitely needs a re-edit. But was it fun? Yes. Was the world building cool? Yes. Did I like the magic? Yes. Like, it has a lot of things that I did enjoy about it quite a bit. Is it fantastic? Obviously not. It's a bit clumsy, so 4 stars. I liked it. It's not great, but it was a fun read. I also read Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. I finally read it. This is a classic. Everybody always tells me to read Robin Hobb, and I finally did. I enjoyed it. Now, I said I enjoyed it. I did not love it, I would say. I'm in like with it, not in love with it. I ended up giving it 4 stars, but it's like a solid 4 stars. It's very good, but I don't know. It took me a long time to really get into the writing style, and that's just a me thing because the writing style in this is very indicative to a lot of iconic or classic fantasy stories. They're written in that tone and the cadence. It's very common. And I'm just not really a purist as a person. I like more modern fantasy, if I'm being honest. So, if you like The Name of the Wind, that kind of cadence, I feel, is similar to this. But, once I did get into, the writing style and the storytelling, then I started really getting into it. I felt like it needed to be, I don't know, a bit tighter. So much of the story is just about Fitz, our main character, kind of growing up and, learning about stuff, but it's not the overarching storyline. That doesn't really come in and probably till the last third of the book. And then you're like, oh, that's what this book was about the whole time. It takes place in this world, the 6 duchies. It's kind of like a multiple pieces of one big kingdom under one king. And Crown Prince Chivalry. Mind you, his name is Chivalry. It's a little on the nose, but whatever. He is the golden child. He's going to be king. And turns out, whoopsie daisy, before he married his queen, had a bastard. Uh-oh. Everyone finds out about it. His name is Fitz. And then, I guess the mother's family just says, here, you deal with this now. And so now he's at the castle, and, they don't know what to do with him. So he's just kind of living his life as a stable boy, kind of, but kind of not at the same time. It's a very weird situation for Fitz. And also at the fringes of the story, you're getting a lot of, infighting in the royal family, ambition, those type of aspects as well, which aren't really played up as much as I feel like they should have been. They're kind of fringe aspects of the story. I'm assuming will become bigger aspects of the story in later books. But in the first book, I think it needed a bit more, those fringes need to be more central to the story rather than the fringes. And the magic system is really cool. Oh my gosh, what is it called? I forget what it's called right now. It's kind of like The Shine, from The Shining, but fantasy. They have this magic where you can talk to people's brains over distances. And the royal family has it, Fitz has it. And, they're trying to teach him, but there's other things going on. And he's also training to become an assassin. And there's a lot of things happening in this book that I feel maybe it needed to have more hints to the overarching storyline rather than just a lot of things happening. So that's why I gave it 4 stars instead of 5 stars. I just felt like it needed that extra oomph to draw me in a bit more sooner than I did get drawn in. But once I was drawn in, I did really enjoy it. I understand why it's a classic. It's very good. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I think I will continue with the series. Now, this is is a book I read just for vibes, and that is The Lives of Saints by Leigh Bardugo. This is a very short book. It's like a companion to the Grishaverse, kind of like, you know, Beetle the Bard was to HP. Very similar idea. Like, it doesn't really have anything to add to the story, but it's like a companion too. And honestly, I just read this because like the artwork, it's fantastic. And they're just like little stories about all the saints that you keep hearing about in the stories. And like, it was fun seeing all of them kind of come to life. Like, they even put, you know, Sancta Alina of the Fold. You know, Alina's the main character from the Grishaverse, so she's in the Book of Saints now. And you even get this little bit about the Starless Saint, which, you know, if you've read King of Scars, you know what's going on here. So it's really, really great artwork. It's kind of giving a few more details, I think, to the overarching storyline that's going on now with Nikolai's arc. Like, I don't know, I'm glad I read it, because I feel like this is going to come in handy later. And it was just fun. I enjoyed the artwork. They're just little tiny, like, fairy tale stories. Like, this is what this saint did. But it just, like, it's a richer experience of the world that was created. So, like, I don't know, I give 5 stars. You know, fuck it, vibes. Like, I like the art. Is it amazing? No, but, like, it was a fun time to read it. And, like, honestly, it got me over my slump after Black Company. Like, I needed it. Yeah, it's got cool artwork. It's kind of, like, a richer experience for the Grishaverse. So, yeah, I had fun with it. The last book I read in the second half of January was The Bear and the Nightingale by Katherine Arden. I finally read it. It happened. It's done. It took me like a year to do it, but I did it. And again, I think I gave it like 4 stars. Like, nothing here was like really outstanding in the second half of the month, but like I did enjoy it. I think it's very well written. It has a definite like fairy tale vibe. It's very lyrical and magical, and it feels like a fairy tale. And that same type of fairy tale storytelling, it doesn't always work for me, because the whole thing with fairy tales is that, like, you never really dig very deep into these characters and who they are. They're kind of our archetypes. And I feel like that's how a lot of the characters in this book were portrayed. Like, not always. There are some characters that have definite, like, conflict and, like, were delved into. But a lot of it is definitely, like, archetypes of characters. So I don't know, I kind of wanted more from Vasilisa than we got, because, you know, she's the heroine here. I did like her overarching storyline. I just wanted, you know, I guess I wanted to be, as weird as this sounds, I wanted it to be more realistic, even though, you know, it's about a fantasy land full of magic. But that being said, I just wanted, like, you know, to hit that sweet spot of, like, real emotion and fantasy fairy tale emotion. You get what I mean? So we're dealing with Vasilisa. She, I think, has a little bit of witch blood in her heritage, and like she's got all the magic. She can see little sprites in the forest. She makes friends with them. She is just Snow Whiting it up, but with like magical sprites instead of like forest creatures. And, you know, that doesn't always go over well with some people. There's talk about her being strange and everything, and she's just like, no, like, it's normal. And they're like, no, honey, no one else sees these things. So, she has her own problems. And then eventually she's like, oh, well, I have to save the whole family and the whole town, because, uh-oh, bad things are coming. Oh, no. And then, you know, she kind of gets with Morozova, which I think is an actual fairy tale being from Russian folklore. It's like the Winter Lord, the Lord of Winter. And so they gotta team up and defeat the bad guy. And I'll give it this book definitely has this like sense of cold about it, because so much of the book takes place in cold and snow and freezing temperatures that you really do feel the cold while you're reading it. So that goes back into like the lyrical storytelling, and it's very fairy tale. You know, you're transported into the setting. So is it good? Yes, I think the writing is definitely very good. I know there are more books in the series. I don't know if I'll read them though. This is kind of like a one and done for me. It is a closed storyline. I think the next 2 books are a different storyline that go over, like it's like a duology kind of, and this is the beginning. And I like how this book ends, actually. It ends a little open-ended, and I like that. So overall, I guess I just wanted a bit more realism in my fairy tale, which sounds bizarre, but I don't know. I think I was just expecting something different a little bit than what I got. But I did enjoy what I got. I think it's very well written. It's good. 4 stars. I recommend. Alright, so yeah, you know, the second half of January was very fantasy heavy. All I read was fantasies. And I think maybe that's what burnt me out, because it was just like the same thing over the same thing, and then like I didn't have enough variety, and they weren't like, you know, edgy fantasies. Maybe Bayou Moon could have been an edgy fantasy, but that's more of an urban fantasy, so it's a different type of thing. But yeah, they're all kind of like historical fantasy stories, and it was just like a lot of the same thing over and over, so I got really burnt out on it. I needed some more variety. Let me know in the comments down below. I don't know, what's a genre you get burnt out on if you read too many in a row? Apparently for me it's historical fantasies. If I read too many in a row, I just get burnt out. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below what burns you out. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like. And if you want to see more videos, make sure you subscribe. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye!